Welcome to the Studio Success Formula Podcast, the business school for dance studio owners. And now for your host, Clint Salter.
Hey there, dance studio owners. It's Clint Salter here from Studio Success Formula and the Dance Studio Owners Association. And thank you so much for joining us on today's podcast. Now, our guest today is Jayne Day, and she is the face behind Webinars. She's a successful online marketing strategist and business coach for women who are ready to take action for huge results in their business and life. Jayne offers complete online marketing strategies and solutions to her clients and assists small business owners in using all the tools available to market their business online to reach their target market. Jayne, I've known Jayne for a few years now. Jayne, I think we connected at an event, was it? Do you remember?
I actually interviewed you on behalf of the Osmompreneur Network. That's how we originally met, I think. And yeah, it was a couple of years ago. I'm struggling to remember the exact time, but yeah, no, it's been a little while.
Yeah, awesome. So it's great to have you on today to be able to help our studio owners with their online marketing. And we talk a lot about online marketing on our podcast because it is such an important aspect of, I think, every business now.
Absolutely is. Yeah, as we know, everything's going online these days, so you really need to be at the top of it when you're running your own business.
Yeah, and it's not going anywhere. People go, oh, this Facebook thing, this Instagram thing, it'll go away. No, guys, it's not. We're all here to tell you it's not going anywhere, and there's just going to be more social platforms, more online for us to try and master as studio owners. Do you agree, Jayne?
Absolutely, yes. It's always changing and evolving, but it's always going to be there, and it's only going to become more and more prominent, in future years.
Totally. Jayne, tell us, I've given our audience a bit of an intro about you, but tell us what you do day to day to help entrepreneurs, specifically females, in helping them grow their business.
Yeah, absolutely. I work primarily one-on-one with my clients, just helping them with their online marketing strategies. But each client is customised. So, for example, what's going to suit one client may not suit another. So we get a complete strategy in place that's going to work not only for their business but also themselves, so that they can move forward with it and manage it themselves in the future. I also do done-for-you services as well. Facebook advertising and search engine optimization is primarily the most top two that I work with in done-for-you services.
That's interesting because I know with Facebook advertising, a lot of our studio owners are trialing it, and they're now looking at the lead gen ads that you can do on Facebook and, the multi-ads, the carousels have been around for a few months now, and Facebook's always changing the layout on Power Editor on everyone. You wake up one morning and Power Editor has changed again and everyone freaks out because they don't know where everything is. What do you think are the important things when it comes to Facebook advertising? Let's talk about the newbies for a minute. So let's say we're really new into Facebook advertising. How should we start to test it? Because it can seem really overwhelming for a lot of studio owners.
Yeah, absolutely. And even the interface when you first go in there for the first time, it can be really overwhelming. But there's a lot of free information around online. So just familiarise yourself with all the different options in the ads. It's hard to say really how you should approach it first off, because it really does depend on the business and the outcome you're looking for the ads. My top advice would be, though, don't try and sell to people straight away from your Facebook ads. Social media, as we all know, isn't to sell to people. It's about building relationships. So use it as more a branding process and getting your name out there, or giving away something for free. And as you mentioned, that's where your lead generation comes into place. So although I have dealt with a couple of studio owners with their online marketing, and I do know when you're marketing to a local market that's primarily interested in your thing, obviously what you're offering, you can be successful that way. So even though we say not to sell, sometimes it can work. So that's why it's sort of really hard to say what to approach first. It's a matter of just stepping in lightly, just spending a little bit and just seeing what works for you.
Yeah, sure. I mean, because for most of our studio audience, when they're thinking about Facebook advertising, they're thinking about, okay, how can I generate more inquiries, new student inquiries to my website to maybe get them to opt in for a free trial class or a week of classes or maybe a guide? How can I get their contact details so I can put them into my enrollment sales funnel so they can actually get into classes? So that's probably the biggest, I think, objective that our studio owners have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so and that's a perfect way to run Facebook ads. So it'd be a matter of setting up something on your website where people are opting in, and just leading the Facebook ads directly to that opt-in on your website. That is the best way to run them, and then obviously having it hooked up to a system, whether it's MailChimp, Aweber, or whatever else you do recommend in that respect. And they do work quite well. Where you do have to be really careful, and where you're going to bring your costs down for those opt-ins, is make sure you've got your targeting right. So you're targeting people that are specifically going to be interested in what you're offering.
Yeah, totally. I'll never forget, about 2 months ago, I was on Facebook and there was a dance studio advertising who was in Canada and I was based in Sydney. And I sent them a little message saying, hey there, you might just want to have a look at your targeting settings because I'm sure you've got a great dance studio, but I'm not going to be coming to Canada for it.
Exactly right.
And so that's a huge one with targeting, and you can do that. In terms of location targeting, I think it's super cool in Facebook how targeted you can get in locations, and then you can layer in terms of interests and targeting the different groups. I mean, what have you seen worked really well when it comes to targeting for a localized business? Because our dance studios are brick and mortar businesses, so they are targeting a specific area. What are some tips you can give us on that?
Okay, so it depends how big the market is in your local area. So it's a matter of sort of getting the numbers right. So you're not targeting too less people. Even you can target too many people, but when you're targeting people locally, you've got to make sure you don't narrow it down too small with your audience as well. Otherwise, your ads aren't going to get a run. So look at the first of all, the geographical region, and make sure you've got that absolutely right. And then obviously, whether you're targeting male or female, and then the ages. And you would probably find that that's probably all the targeting most studio owners would need to do if they get those three things very right. Otherwise, if they try to go into more of the interest targeting, they might narrow their audience down too low and the ads aren't going to get a run.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. No, great advice. What are some of because Facebook ads are kind of the talk at the moment because they're a really effective way to get in front of our target audience quite quickly as well. It's not like a newspaper advert or a flyer in the mail where we're kind of praying that someone sees it that might be interested. What are some of the mistakes that you see people are making when they first jump into Facebook advertising that's probably costing them a lot of money?
Yeah, first of all is the targeting. That's a really big issue, and a lot of people make mistakes there. The other thing is not setting the right objective for the ads. So if you're sending people to a page on your website for them to opt in to get something, whether it's a free class or something they're getting physical in their hands, make sure you set the objective for your ads as website conversions. That's probably the biggest thing, and then that way you can see exactly how many are opting in to get what you're offering, and that way you can monitor how well the ads are working for you. If you try and set one of the other objectives, Facebook's not going to be showing it to the right people to get those desired results.
And what do you think about copy and image? Because this comes up a lot as well. And I know every day we're all on Facebook and we're on our news feeds or on the mobile news feed if we're looking at it from a mobile device. And there's some ads that like straight away we're like, oh my God, that looks amazing. I've got to be a part of that. I've got to know more. And then the ads that you see that are like, that totally looks like an ad. So what are some what's your kind of view on how to pick the right image and the right copy for the ad, and should we be testing them, and if so, how does that kind of play out on the platform?
Yeah, absolutely. It is all a matter of trial and error, and every ad does run differently. Even now, when I run ads, I think one image is going to perform better than the other, and they prove me wrong. So it's always a matter of testing. But generally, don't use stock images. If you can get your own photos and take them, that's absolutely perfect. So whether it's people, doing one of your classes, or something like that that's authentic to your business, and it doesn't look like one of the standard stock images. So it doesn't have to be a purely professional image. It just has to be attractive and look good. And a lot of people do say, and I do find it as well, that females in the ads work a lot better than males, and also with them looking pretty much at the camera when the image is taken, if it's just one person in that image. So that's generally what works best. But as I said, test it all, but I normally recommend clients to stay away from the standard stock images that you can purchase. Try and get your own, and they will work a lot better. With the creative that you're doing in the ads, it's a trial and error. Sometimes, 3 lines of text can work better than, a couple of paragraphs, but then it can be the other way around. So once again, it's just testing it. The best way to test it is to set up your ads and have only two running at the same time, and have, for example, the same text in both ads but 2 separate images. After they've run for a couple of days, you'll get a feel for which ad is working the best. So turn off the one that isn't, and then change the creative. So then you've got another 2 ads running with the most popular image, and then running 2 with different ad text, so you can see which one works the best there. Facebook is getting really pedantic in what they approve in your Facebook ads, so that's something to be mindful of. Generally, they don't. In the marketing world, we like to word the ad so it's directed at one person. So using you a lot, for example, in ads. Facebook don't like that. So you've got to try and work a way around it, and not being negative in your ads. So not, pointing out something that might be something that causes someone hardship or something. So always trying to word your ads positively while still trying to tell them what you're going to offer them in the best possible way, if that makes sense. So, it is a juggling act.
Yeah, it is, and it's a big concern, because I know, as probably you know as well, I've had lots of friends who are running businesses in the online space who have had their accounts shut down. A great example, although it's not one for dance studios, but you can apply it, is that a lot of people that are selling supplements or helping people in the health space, you can't say, like, do you have diabetes? You can't kind of point that out anymore, because for the experience for the consumer, the person that's on Facebook, they're not kind of particularly going to like that. And they're also thinking, oh my God, how do you know? How do you know that that's me? So be very careful. That's a really great tip, Jayne, because they are really cracking down on accounts. So Jayne, I'd love to know, on the same topic of Facebook ads, because I know it's a big one for our studio owners, what's advice, I guess, would you give for those that are like, you know what, Clint, I don't have time to learn Facebook ads. I'm trying to run a business. I've got teachers to organize. I've got admin stuff to organize. The last thing I want to do is learn Facebook advertising. Do you think, now I know you do implementation with your agency, do you think though that the studio owner needs to have an idea of how it works first? So getting in there, trialing different audiences, trialing different kind of creative and copy before they go to someone to help them with the implementation, so they have a bit of background on it? Or do you think they can completely go to someone and say, okay, this is what I do, you market it for me? What do you think around that?
Yeah, and it can be very time-consuming testing it all to start with. My advice is, if they're time poor, would be go to a professional in the first place, get them to do all the testing and get everything all set up, and then have a consultation with them or something, so that they can then give the studio owner the rundown of exactly what's worked and what hasn't, and give them options to move forward running it on their own from there on. So just for example, the way I do it, I do set up all the ads for clients under their own ad account, so they can go in and see the ads at any time. And a lot of the time when I stop doing the ads for the clients after a set period of time, I then hand it over to them and say, this is what I've done, this is what works. You can go in and turn this on and off at any time you want the ads to be running. And that's pretty much how it works. So for anyone that's time poor, that would be the best way to do it.
Perfect. I think that's actually really good advice. So guys, going to someone up front that can kind of do all the time consuming stuff for you and then say, okay, this is what we've done over the last month or two. These are the audiences that perform for you. These are the ads that have performed for you. And then say, look, we can kind of keep working in this capacity, or I can, coach you around it, or, this is kind of the roadmap forward.
Absolutely. Yep, that would be the best way. And, once they're all set up like that, it would be easy enough. So if the studio owners do have admin staff, it would be quite easily for the admin staff to take over and do a portion of the, turning on and off as well going forward.
Yeah. Awesome. Now, you're a mum and you also run a business, which is so many of our studio owners are trying to juggle running a business, managing a family, still having a life. I mean, what did you learn early on when you had, two children at home and you were working? What are some of those key lessons that you learned from running a business and a family in those early days?
So many things. I think the main thing is trying to have a set structure. So if your kids are going to daycare or if they're sleeping at certain times, make those your work times and stick to it. I generally found, especially when the kids were younger, if I tried to work while they're working at my feet, it generally didn't work, and I'd just get frustrated because I'd get no work done. The kids weren't getting attention, and it was just it was hard, and it is always a juggling act, but I found having a set structure works really well. That would be my top advice. And also outsourcing and getting help in your business pretty much as soon as you can, even if you think you just can't quite afford it yet. If you try and stretch it and get some extra help, you might find that that's freed up so much of your time and your business will move forward so quickly. So they're probably the two things I'd recommend.
Great, yeah, and I agree with you. In terms of the outsourcing, what are some things that you outsourced early on and how did you go about that?
Yeah, I've got a lot of horror stories I could probably tell you as well. The best thing I found was because I'm an online business and I work from home, so I don't need people with me. So it might be a little bit different for your studio owners. But I found even though people could work from their own homes, I still like to have them fairly local to me so I could catch up with them via phone or in person. I did try outsourcing admin to overseas, and I know it works really, really well for lots of people. I just couldn't make it work for me. So it was admin things that I pretty much outsourced straight away. My bookkeeping I outsourced, even though that was a tough one for me because, believe it or not, I do like bookkeeping, but I just found it freed up so much of my time. So those sort of things are the ones I outsourced straight away.
Yeah, awesome. And, when structuring your day, how do you keep, because, it's all great to say, I put this in my diary and then I know they're the hours that I've got to work, but how do you make sure that you keep working on the things that need priority? And, a lot of our studio owners are working from home as well, so it's kind of easy to kind of like lie in the lounge for half an hour and watch Ellen or something. How do you stop that from happening, or what do you have in place to give you the best chance of succeeding, I guess, during the day?
Yeah, that's probably something I never really struggled with. I was really focused on the business and getting it to work. I was also forced to make it work because my husband had not lost his job, but he was out of work and couldn't work at the time. So I had to basically bring in the money and support the family. So I was just really focused on making the business work. I had a list, my to-do list. We always have a to-do list, but make sure the things at the top and the things you're getting done first are the ones that are income-producing tasks, the things that are going to move your business forward or make you, an income relatively quickly.
Yeah, awesome. Now, so that's good because they're always trying to find, how do I balance my life? And you're talking about structure, which is super important. Planning. I've always planned my day the day before so I can see what's kind of coming up for the following day, and I have a space in there to have lunch and have a break, and occasionally I will also have a nap during the day as well. If I need it, I will schedule time in for a nap.
Well done.
Because I think that's, although it, I felt very, very guilty doing it probably for the first month.
Yep.
But I just worked out that it totally increased my productivity during the day. by, having that lie down for half an hour or 20 minutes is amazing. Once you kind of get over the initial, you feel like you just want to sleep for the rest of the day, it's actually quite effective. Jayne, when it comes to online marketing, aside from Facebook, what else should we be doing as studio owners to be able to get seen and be what I like to call the go-to studio? The studio that is top of mind for your potential family, students, parents in your local area.
Yeah, I think staying with the Facebook idea at the moment is, having your own Facebook page and posting on there regularly, but also having some sort of promotion or something in place that incentivise your current customers to post on Facebook on their own personal pages. So whether it's a photo of them at the studio or doing something, it's a really good way of getting your name out there. And, obviously people that are attending your studio already have friends that are in the same area, so they're going to see it and share it. So that way, if you've got other people doing a lot of your marketing for you, and things on Facebook just go viral. And if someone asks of a studio in the area, you want to be the first one that your current customers are recommending. So that would be the first thing I would highly recommend. So, things like promotions, if everyone posts an image of them at one of the classes or something, having your own hashtag so you can follow who's doing it, and offer, one free class a month or something to someone that's, the best image that's been shared or something like that. So, that's just one simple idea. There's plenty of others. And then also work on your search engine optimization of your website. So make sure if someone's going on to Google and Googling a dance studio in your area, you want to be the one coming up at the top of those Google search results.
100%. And I think, look, you talked about a page. Now, we all know that visibility of pages is going right down in terms of, if we've got 1,000 fans on our page, that 3 or 5, not 1% of them are actually going to see it unless we're, putting some money towards it. What's your view on boosting posts so that more of our fans see it?
Yeah, boosting posts can work. I generally only recommend boosting them to your likers if it's something that's promoting something about the studio. So if you're offering something or something like that, that can work well. But yes, you do need quite a good number of likers for them to work because, obviously boosting a post is an ad and it doesn't work to a very limited audience. So you need to have quite a few likers to begin with. I generally say to clients, don't be too concerned that not many people are seeing your posts. Still just post on a regular basis because you will find that because a lot of people are, obviously there's, over 1.55 billion users on Facebook now. If they're thinking of doing business with somebody, they will go and search for you in Google and they'll also search for you on Facebook. So keep in mind that if a prospective customer is looking at your Facebook page, they want to see it being updated regularly and lots of content on there. So that would be what I'd recommend, just trying to post on a consistent basis on your page and just hoping that it does work in the end, but it generally does. But I try not to be concerned by the numbers because I still get, for myself and my clients, a huge amount of business through Facebook, not just from the ads. The engagement rate's still quite low on those pages.
Yeah, perfect. Anything else that you want to share with us in terms of Facebook? Where is it headed, Jayne? Because we always kind of think about the now, and they release lead generation ads where people actually don't need to leave Facebook now to actually add in their details for an opt-in. They can do it through Facebook. I mean, how do you see the Facebook ad platform shifting and evolving over the next 12 months?
That's a really good question, and I'm not sure I can answer that because they surprise us all the time. I think it's just going to keep going the way it has been. They do want people to stay on Facebook. They don't want to be sending ads away from Facebook. So I think there's probably going to be more things implemented like that with the new lead gen ads. But then it does depend on the consumer uptake as well, because with the lead gen ads, we are finding that they are costing more at the moment. So I think that would be because not a lot of people are using them yet. So it's a hard one. You never know which way they're going to turn to next. I think there's going to be more selling within the Facebook platform. I think that that's something to look out for. I'm not sure exactly how that will evolve. It's just a wait and see game.
Yeah, totally. Look, Jayne, awesome to chat with you today. I guess my last question for you is for our studio owners is, what are your 3 tips for success? So looking back over your career over the last many years, running a business, working with lots of business owners, what are the 3 things you believe that you need to be doing every day to be successful in your business?
Yeah, I've sort of gone over a really shift over the last 12 to 18 months. And one of the big shifts that's seen a lot of success come in my business is, believe it or not, is not learning the practical things, but it's working on your own self-development and your own mindset. So if you haven't done any of that sort of work, that's something I'd highly recommend. Getting in the right mindset for your business, truly believing that you can do what you want to achieve, and, interacting that into your daily life is so beneficial. It's, I could talk all day about that. Secondly is having a coach or a mentor, which all of your studio owners do have. A mentor or a coach in your area is just priceless, and whatever you pay, you'll get back tenfold. So that would be my second tip. My third one is having a clear path to the goals you want to achieve. So sitting down and say, okay, this is what I want to achieve in my studio over the next 12 months. I want this many students coming through, or I want to earn this amount of money. And then breaking it down, even right down to weekly. Okay, to achieve that goal, what do I need to do? How many do I need to have coming through every week? And then what am I going to do to get those coming through the doors? Just be really mindful and monitoring that all the time, and you'll get to where you want to go.
Awesome. I think they are amazing tips. Work on yourself, everyone. You can have the best Facebook advertising strategy in the world, but if you're not coming from the right place and haven't got the mental wellness really of and the mindset of being able to, test things and move through challenges and, be still working really hard in those tough times. I mean, I think they're the important things, right? The second thing is get yourself a mentor or a coach, follow someone else's footsteps that have already made all those mistakes and wasted a lot of money essentially, so that you don't have to do it, and, really build out that roadmap. Jayne, thanks for your time. Where can our studio owners go to find out more about you and Webinize?
Yes, certainly. They can go to my website at webinize.com.au, or I'm always on Facebook or Instagram. They're my 2 top social media platforms, so just search for Webinize on there and you'll find me. Yeah,
awesome. Well, thanks so much again, Jayne, for sharing your wisdom and knowledge with our studio owners today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, Clint.
Are you enjoying the Studio Success Formula podcast? Then we'd love for you to share the love. We want to help more dance studio owners become go-to studios, so we'd greatly appreciate you writing us a review on iTunes. For taking the time out to do so, every month, Clint will be selecting one lucky dance studio owner to receive a Power Business Coaching session. Simply visit the iTunes store today, search for Studio Success Formula, click on ratings and reviews, and then write your review. Thanks in advance. Take care, and we'll see you next time.